he showed he's the guy, which the Bears have been looking for a guy since forever.
So back.
Welcome back. It is so back. We are so back with some playoff football. It was a wonderful week in football this week, and me and Eddie are just so excited to talk to you about it this week. We're going to talk about a little bit about college football. Only had a few games, but I think the main subject today is going to be the awesome slate of NFL games that we had this weekend. A lot of tight games, a lot of fourth quarter comebacks. It was everything that we love in the NFL. Um, but before we do that, Eddie, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much put it perfectly there. Not a ton of college football to talk about anymore. It's getting a little bit sad as we get towards the end of that this year of football. But yeah, NFL still fairly in full swing. Yeah, it's gonna be a good show.
All right, well, let's just hop right into college football. And we'll get the stinker game out of the way first. Indiana, Oregon. Indiana 56, Oregon 22. Just really an all-out domination on the part of Indiana. Um, from the very first play. It was just from that first play you knew Indiana was here to play. They were here to win it, and they did.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how my mind worked as well. Even though Oregon got the score 2-7-7 at one point, the fact that the first play of the game was a pick six for Indiana, it just the tide was in Indiana's favor the entire game. And I just honestly, I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say I don't think that there is anybody in college football right now who can beat the Indiana Hoosiers.
I mean, I would love to disagree with you. I really would. I think it would make this more interesting. But I mean, Fernando Mendoza's thrown more touchdowns than he has incompletions. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? That is just pure dominance on the offensive side of the football, and their defense isn't anything to sneeze at. So this just seems like a really complete Indiana team that Miami is going to have a tough time with.
Yeah, I feel like I do keep underestimating Miami as I keep saying that they're not going to win their next game. We'll get to them here in a moment. So maybe I'm just underestimating them again, but Indiana, gets the bye. The bye has hurt every team in the past as far as we've had it in the last 2 years. Doesn't hurt them. They beat Alabama arguably more embarrassingly than they beat Oregon because Alabama didn't even score a touchdown. And then they come into Oregon, another solid squad, and just make them. I mean, they make Oregon look like a bad football team. They made Oregon and Alabama look like they're actually bad at football, which I think we all know they're not. But this team is so dominant under Signetti that it's just like they're not. They're making teams look like they're not even good at football.
And to me, it looked like Indiana was trying to make a point with this game a little bit. There was no reason Fernando Mendoza should have still been in the game up 49-7 or whatever it was. Uh, but I think Sig wanted to hit 50. He was like, we are gonna show you guys that we are that much better than you. And I mean, 22 from Oregon, they had 7 points until the fourth quarter, got a touchdown, got a couple late touchdowns in garbage time. But yeah, just an all-out dominant performance from Indiana this weekend.
Yeah, it was the thing I found kind of funny about it, which I always find funny in these games because people always do it. But your team is down, 40 points on a national scale. Everyone's watching you, and they score a touchdown with like 3 minutes left, and the whole team like huddles up and celebrates, and they're all like high fiving. And I'm like, dude, you guys are done, man. Like I guess like have your fun. Your season's over.
Right, that's more of like a I'll keep the ball moment because, we just I scored in the national semifinal. That's pretty cool. But yeah, you're getting trounced. So, tough way to go out if you're Oregon. Indiana keeps rolling. And moving on to the much better game of the weekend, Miami beating Ole Miss late. Eddie, what'd you think about this game?
This game was just an awesome game. This was one of my favorite college football games of the year. I know that because it's in the playoff, maybe that does, affect that. But this would be a game that I would probably watch in the regular season, but it wouldn't be like my top priority. But this was a game now everyone was watching because this is in the college football playoff. Everyone watches the college football playoff, and it was just a great game. I will say, as close as the game was, and Ole Miss had a shot to win this game at the end. Miami kind of kept Ole Miss in it. They dropped about three interceptions. Like they had control of this game. They just kind of kept Ole Miss in it. Trinidad Chambliss actually played a great game because the interceptions were dropped, but he could have had like four interceptions. And I think that Miami kind of allowed them to be in it a little bit. I mean, Miami ran like 30 something more plays on offense. They just had the ball longer, and I think that Miami has, they deserve everything they have right now. They've earned it. They barely got into the college football playoff, and now, they're playing in the national title. Again, I pick against them every week. I don't think they can beat Indiana. I think Indiana is a stronger team on almost every front, but they're a Cinderella story right now.
So what I will say about this Miami team, and it was the script versus Ole Miss, it was the script versus Ohio State, is that if they can control the time possession, if they can continue to run the ball effectively like they have been, continue to get it to their weapons and keep the ball, they really do have a shot to keep this thing tight with Indiana. And I think if they can keep it tight and Carson Beck doesn't have a Carson Beck interception game, I do see a world in which Carson Beck, who's been to three national championships, I mean, he only played in one of them. It was the TCU one where he got the garbage time, but still, he's been to three. He's got that experience. He knows how to win football games. Um, and I think there definitely is a world where Miami goes in and just stuns Indiana.
Yeah, I think the game is going to be the closest that Indiana has had throughout the college football playoff. That's not really saying much considering, like we said, the two wins that they have. But I do expect Miami to keep this game fairly close. But I just can't see. I mean, you're right. Like there is a universe out there that Miami wins this game. I just don't personally believe that we're living in that universe because I just think Indiana is that good out of absolutely seemingly left field, just amazing at football.
The thing that I do like about this game is you got two alpha head coaches in Mario Cristobal and Kurt Signetti, two guys that just all they want to do is win football games. And you can see that in the DNA of both these teams. This really, really tough Miami defense that is going to grind you down. They're going to make you work for it. And an Indiana team who every single player on that field is working hard and is playing not just for themselves to make money. They're playing for Kurt Signetti in Indiana. And you can tell when a team's playing for a little bit more than just like themselves, I think. You can tell that they have something extra that they want to play for. And this team just wants to prove people wrong, and they've done it all season, and they want to keep doing it. But I actually think Miami's going to win this game.
Wow. Man, I don't think I can agree with you, but I mean, I didn't think Miami could win against Ohio State. I didn't think they could. I could see them beating Ole Miss. I could see the universe where they beat Ole Miss, but I expected them to be playing Georgia, and I didn't think they were going to be able to beat Georgia. I mean, I didn't think they were going to get past A&M. This team continues to impress me. So if they can
So
control the time of possession, like you say, there is a chance that Miami can beat Indiana.
so the reason I say it is because the two games that Miami has lost this season has been because of Carson Beck, really. Because I think he threw a combined five or six picks in those two games. Like he just couldn't hang on to the ball, and he's been much better throughout this latter part of the season and taking care of the football, making smart decisions, and just playing within himself. And I mean, if he can do that, yeah, I think Miami's going to win.
We'll see.
But we move on to a couple of storylines here in college football. The first one will relate it to what we were just talking about, and that is Trinidad Chambliss, who was denied his 6 year of eligibility by the NCAA, and is now suing the NCAA, which seems to work for pretty much every player that's ever sued the NCAA.
Yeah, I see it similar to what you say. I expect Trinidad Chambliss to gain his extra year of eligibility. I was very surprised that the NCAA was not just giving him the extra year of eligibility initially. I guess it makes sense, but I guess just the thought process with me being that he played in a D2 school and now he's finally been given the opportunity to play at this D1 level. I expected him to get another year of eligibility, but this is kind of the weird universe of college football that we live in right now, which is that, I feel like when we were younger, it's like, dude, you get 4 years, that's what you get. You get 4 years and that's your
Right, you
opportunity.
get 5 years to play four,
Right. You
right?
get
That's
5 years
that's
to
how it
play
is.
for. And now, you've got guys who are playing, 6 years. I mean, you've got guys who are playing even maybe 7 years. Like you've got old players in college football. And I mean, I get that Trinidad Chambliss hasn't really shown his full potential yet, especially having to deal with that coaching drama that happened with Ole Miss losing Lane Kiffin and such. But I do expect that if this guy went to the draft, because when he said, I didn't know he was going to sue them at this point, but when they denied his eligibility, I expected him to go to the draft. And I did think he was going to get drafted. I expected him to be a quarterback on an NFL team. Starting, probably not, but I did expect him to be on a team. And now he'll likely get another year of college football.
So the reason I think that he may not get this 6 year is because he applied for the medical red shirt and they just didn't grant it. So I don't know in terms of it has to be an NCAA rule of some kind because he missed the 2022 season with some respiratory issues and I believe he ended up getting surgery. Um, and I believe what the NCAA's position is that's not a football injury, so it doesn't apply for a medical red shirt. Is what I think probably the rationale is. Um, but the reason that the NCAA always loses in these cases is because I can't remember the specific act, but basically it applies to nobody can um, try to hinder your earning ability, basically. So every time that people sue the NCAA, it's because the NCAA is telling them that they can't make money, and which is illegal. So it's a tough one because I could say what after this is stopping somebody from saying, yeah, I just wanted a 5th year, and you can't stop me because that's my earning potential. So it puts it if they do lose this one, it puts the NCAA in a really, really tough spot, and it puts them in a spot where they have to probably sign a collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah, I mean, we will see. Like I say, if Ole Miss or not Ole Miss, if the NCAA allows Trinidad Chambliss to come back for this 6th year, it starts to get to the point where this is like going from college football to just kind of pre NFL football. Like there are guys who are already like 25, 26 years old, even some, I think there's someone 27 years old in college football. Like that's a man, that's your NFL prime at that age. So it's just interesting that this is the way that college football is going. Um, but maybe you're right. And if he does, part of me hopes that he does lose this trial and the NCAA says, no, we got to have some kind of boundary. But another part of me does think it's a little bit unfair that he had to get lung surgery and that's not considered, a football injury. Like that sucks. But if that's the stance they have, that's the stance they have, and they have to stand on that.
Right. And kind of this brings me to kind of another point. We'll talk a little bit about playoff structure and format in a second, but this puts me into a spot where I'm starting to think like, why don't we just do a promotion relegation system, right? Because now we're getting to these points where these schools at the top, these Big Ten and SEC schools, they have all the money, and it's all concentrated at the top, and it's not trickling down as much as it probably should. And so now that we're paying guys and everybody, it's basically the wild wild west. And there needs to be some sort of rule to rein this all in, because it's really getting out of control, and it is becoming professional football, which is not the which is not the model. And if we're going to do that, you know what? Let's screw these universities. Who cares? What's what I They don't even have to go to school. I don't care if they go to school. Who cares? They're not going to class anyways. It doesn't matter. So as long as you're playing with that G on your chest, that's all that I really care about. I could care less if you're going to class.
Yeah, and I mean that's unfortunately the way that it seems that college football is going, but I don't know. It's like, in my opinion, I feel like college football, you can call me an old head, but, I just feel like college football was supposed to be, the paying players is one thing. Like,
Mm,
I get that. Like, that's good. Like, the players deserve to get paid. Like, they're putting their bodies on the line for their universities. Like, I get that. They deserve to be paid. But now you have all these new, like, rules that are coming into place to where, like, guys are playing in college football and they graduated 2 years ago, but they just had a couple extra years of eligibility, and it's like, well, dang, they don't even go to school anymore. It's like, are they even a college, or is this even a college team, or is this just a bunch of guys we brought in to play for our school?
right. And that it there I think there's a lot of problems right now. And one of the biggest ones is that the NCAA is not able to create any rules at the moment,
Right.
because every time they try to make a rule, it gets struck down by Congress. So and the NCAA is in a tough spot, but to me, the only way that this ends is a collective bargaining agreement. It's got to be, because there needs to be some sort of rules, or else this isn't going to mean anything. People are going to be starting in the middle of the year. People are going to be coming back from the NFL that got cut from a practice squad because they can. Like, it's already happening in college basketball. So what's stopping somebody who got drafted in the fifth round and they get cut at training camp, and then they're like, oh well, let me just go back to school because I didn't play. Like, nothing really happened. I just got drafted. It doesn't apparently that doesn't mean anything anymore. So what's stopping that? So I don't know. It's a very tricky situation.
Yeah, it's a sticky one for the NCAA. We'll have to see how this trial with Trinidad Chambliss goes for sure.
But to move on, we do have the 12 team college football playoff. This is the second year. And this is the second year that we've seen the majority of teams who get that first round bye lose. And everybody but Indiana, we mentioned it earlier. Um, so what do you think about the format?
Well, currently, I like the some aspects of this 12 team format, right? As we've talked about before, they're going to expand to 16 teams here fairly soon. I It's possibly as soon as next season. Like, we don't really know when that's going to happen. But in my mind, the way that this should work, in my personal opinion, I feel like we have touched on this a little bit, but the full structure, if we were going to continue to have another 12 team next year, then you take off, in my mind, you get 1 week. Like, you have the bowl game, right? Or not the bowl game, the championship game, like the conference championship. And then the week after that is the bye week for the teams who have earned that bye week. The week after that is when they play again. The week that they're off that week is when I think the teams that aren't top four should have to play. This giving a team 26 days off is it's just too much time. They're not, I mean, Indiana did like full contact practices, and that was a big thing for them that has allowed them to now be as strong as they are at this point in the playoff. But 26 days off is just too much time. You can't take a month off football and then come back and expect to be as good as the teams that have been playing that whole time and now have momentum. Like you're just not going to be as good.
No, and I mean we've had the rest versus rest conversation for as long as bye weeks have existed, and really there's no true answer to it, but there is a true answer to if you take 28 days off, it's not going to look as great as it did when
Right.
you guys were playing every week, whether you're healthier or not. The ability to go out there and make football decisions in real time, it has to be practiced and repeated and repeated and repeated. And that's why at the end of the season, you see all these teams that are playing so much better because they've been playing week in and week out. And then we give them 28 days off and they're college kids. They're probably out drinking. They're out doing probably stupid stuff because, they're 20 to 27, but still. But they, they're going out and they're doing stupid stuff and they're probably just not they're not as focused as they would have been if we have a game in 2 weeks you know
Yeah, I agree. And I think that that's just what college football and the NCAA will bring forward. Is just I'm not really asking for an absolute complete and total restructure. I like that the group of five teams get in. Like I like that. I think that that creates, hope and chance for them. Did they get pummeled this year? Yeah, they did. They did get pummeled this year. But there is the opportunity for them to grow. If you don't give them an opportunity to get into the college football playoff, then they're never going to get in. Like that's they're not going to get in because they're not going to be ranked one of the 12th best teams. They're just not going to be that until you maybe give them a chance otherwise. That allows growth because people are like, oh, I'm going to go play here because I can get in as a group of five team. And that can bring better players and that can bring, stronger potential to the team. So I like that aspect. It's just the rest aspect that I think is not good.
yeah, and that kind of brings me to another point that we wanted to talk about, which is kind of the new power dynamics in the NCAA, where for 100 years it was the SEC was the best conference in football, and now we see kind of the Big Ten has kind of overshadowed the SEC in recent years, and then you see smaller teams like Indiana and Miami who. Miami was good in the early 2000s. They're a historic program, but Indiana was before 2 years ago was legitimately the worst college football program in the FBS. So I that's part of this whole paying players too is now the SEC isn't the only conference that pays their players because we know they're paying each other. We know they're paying players. It's well known fact. Players have come out and said that they were taking money from schools, but now everybody gets to do it and you get to brag about how much money you're making. You get to flex on people. You get to flex on people with your car, and that makes going to Tulane a little bit better. You get to
Right.
drive around New Orleans in your friggin' Lamborghini and be hot shit. So it's a very interesting time to like see this flip.
Yeah, it's now allowing, in my opinion, other teams to kind of be stronger, which I do like, but I do find it interesting, the shift in the SEC. While I might be, people will come for me if I say this, and I don't really care. I still do think the SEC is the best conference. I know that they haven't had a national championship here, and now this will be the third year in a row that a national champion will not be coming from the SEC. And the last two were both Big Ten, being Michigan and Ohio State, and now it could be Indiana, which could be Big Ten for a third year in a row. But I mean, the SEC is still, in my opinion, the strongest conference just because of the power they have in the entire conference. Like most of every team in the SEC this year was a good enough team to hang with almost anybody in the nation. I don't think Northwestern, I don't think Wisconsin, I don't think these teams can hang with big schools. So the overall SEC, I still find stronger than the Big Ten. I just don't know if these big SEC schools are quite as strong as the big Big Ten schools.
So this is really what needs to happen. Is the SEC and the Big Ten need to come together and say, hey, we're gonna play uh first week of the season or second week of the season, whatever it is. We're gonna play 1 through 14. Our number one will play your number one, and we'll go down the list. And then we can see, right? Because right now this question is unanswerable.
Right.
It's just a hypothetical, right? I can tell you that Northwestern is terrible till I'm blue in the face. But we don't know how those bottom tier teams match up until we actually see them play. So I think that's really the only way to solve this particular problem. But then you get to the point where, okay, the ACC, now the ACC feels left out, and now the Big 12 feels left out. Okay, so they play, but now we're saying, okay, now these ones are way better than these ones, and we have the same exact argument. So it's a tough it's we'll never truly know, but I think to say that 1 through 14 pound for pound, the SEC is probably better, I would say is an accurate statement. But, I mean, these big boys can recruit too. The big boys in the Big Ten can recruit too, and they get a lot of money to spend, and they are going to continue to spend it. So we'll see how this all shakes out, but I don't even know that we'll be having this conversation in 5 years because I don't know that there'll be these conferences in 5 years.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, that's another thing. Conferences are changing all the time and everything in college football is just really weird right now. But one thing about college football is that we're allowed to have these discussions. That's kind of what makes this fun, right? Is that, we're not going to see these guys play all the time. So it's like up to this random group of people like, well, we think these guys are better. That's just what we think. And that's just what they think and what they say goes. In the NFL, it's not like, this year they could be like, well, we're going to put the Falcons in just because we have more quality wins. Like that's not really how it works. So that's kind of what makes college football fun a little bit, and that's kind of we're allowed to have this conversation where Big Ten people are thinking, well, we're better because we have the last three national champions, and then the SEC is saying, well, we're better because do you really think that Wisconsin could beat Vanderbilt? Like these are just kind of what make college football fun a little bit.
Moving on to the NFL. We had a great weekend of NFL playoff football, and it all started off with the LA Rams and the Carolina Panthers.
Great game.
It was a wonderful game in which the Panthers just hung on for dear life, and the Rams just, they did what they were supposed to do and beat up on a team that they should have beat. I shouldn't say beat up, that's not true. They won in a last drive, but
I mean, the Panthers hung in this game for a really long time. I mean, there was a moment in time, a moment being, maybe 15, 20 minutes of time where I really did think that the Carolina Panthers were going to be playing against the Bears in this next round. And then you start to put it all together like, well, wait, are the Bears? Well, I guess at this point we didn't know it was going to be the Bears, but they're going to be moving on. And it's like, okay, well, if the Bears win and then San Francisco wins, we know that they're going to go play the Bears. And maybe this team can get by the Bears. And then they're in the NFC Championship. And now, if San Francisco can get lucky, maybe they're going to play San Francisco. They've already lost to them once, but it was a pretty good game. Maybe they could sneak in. But as we say, the Rams do what they were supposed to do, and that offense came to life. The Panthers had an interception in their hands in the end zone late in the fourth quarter that absolutely would have ended this game and taken the Panthers to the divisional round, but it was dropped. And Matthew Stafford said, "Well, if you're going to drop that, I'm going to go score a touchdown, and we're going to win this game." And that's what they did on the very next drive.
Yeah, I mean that I don't know if it was just me, but on that last drive, I had zero doubt that Matthew Stafford was going to march down the field and score a touchdown. I
Absolutely.
there was no doubt in my mind because that's just what we've seen from Matthew Stafford. He has just been that dog that will do whatever it takes to win football games. And Puka Nakua played out of his goddamn mind. He was catching everything. He had a billion yards, a billion receptions, and he was just kind of he was that safeguard for Matthew Stafford throughout the whole game. Where if nothing else was open, he knew Puka was going to be there. He knew he was going to be open, and that was what got the Rams over the line here.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I was watching this with my girlfriend. She's a Panther fan. She's really heartbroken about this game. But the thing about that drive, like you say, was I in my head also knew that they were going to go down and score. In my mind, I was like, dude, if you're the Panthers, man, let him get in because if you can get the ball back with some time, that's your path. That is your path
Mm.
to winning this game. Is not a stop because no offense, you're not going to get a stop. The Panthers defense is solid, but the Rams offense is just that much better. And I knew they weren't going to get a stop, and they got the ball back with, I think, two timeouts and like maybe it was 30 seconds. And that drive was abysmal. The Rams brought pressure on every snap, and Bryce Young was under duress. And he's a good QB in those situations in game winning drives, but there was a dropped pass that ended the game. Would that drop pass have mattered? I think if they catch it, there's still like 8 seconds left. Then they'd have to get another 15-yarder to get into field goal range to even get into overtime. But once the Rams scored that touchdown, which was a beautiful touchdown, by the way, great throw, great catch, the Rams pretty much had this game.
Yeah, I mean that catch by Parkinson it was, right? That was, I mean, Matthew Stafford threw it only where he could catch it, and he was one of the only guys that could have made that catch. He's spinning around, he gets both his feet in and has the wherewithal to jump forward and get to the pylon. I mean, it was just it was a thing of beauty, as you might say. But what do you think it is that about this Panthers team that is just that gives the Rams fits?
I don't know. I was kind of thinking that throughout the kind of game was that the Panthers give this team trouble. And I mean, in all honesty, I hate to bring up my team, but the Falcons gave them trouble too. These teams, a couple teams from the NFC South, giving the best conference in football a little bit of trouble. I mean, the NFC West is solid. They have three teams in the divisional round. The NFC West has like almost a 50% chance to win the Super Bowl, which is pretty crazy. I mean, they just have that many teams in the playoffs right now. And the Rams just kind of struggle against the Panthers. In my personal opinion, I think it's that the Rams' pass defense is pretty good. I mean, the Rams scored a lot of points, but they made it tough on Stafford. The select part of that game through the middle, the meat of that game, Stafford was struggling to find completions. When it came down to it, he made it happen because he has a good shot at being the MVP, and that's what MVPs do. And he got it done, but for the middle part of this game, the Panthers made it very difficult for them to complete passes and get move the ball downfield effectively. And that I think is what kind of gives the Rams a little bit of trouble against this Panthers team.
So I would agree because normally I would say that this is like a play down to your competition kind of situation, but it's the playoffs. There's no look ahead spot here. There's no oh we got next week we got whoever. It's we got to win this game or the season's over. And you still had trouble with a team that limped into the playoffs in the weakest division in football. So I don't know if it's something inherently wrong with the Rams or if it's something that they might be able to snap out of. But I think it's going to be very tough against a Bears team who on Saturday night just exercised all of their demons and won a playoff game versus the Green Bay Packers for the first time since 1941. TV was black and white. They weren't showing these games live, I don't think. I think they just had like film that they were like, "Oh, I guess we'll need this eventually." You
Right.
know? It's like it was just absolutely it, if I were a Bears fan, I would be elated. And honestly, I would think maybe we're going to go to the Super Bowl.
I don't think it's an unbelievable statement to say that the Chicago Bears can get into the Super Bowl. I mean, they really, their biggest problem, not necessarily like ever, but their biggest problem this year is that this Green Bay team has seemingly given them some trouble. And that's their biggest rival. And it's kind of like a big brother situation. No offense, Chicago. I was rooting for you guys. I like you guys more than I like Green Bay. I hate Green Bay. But I mean, you guys are kind of the little brother to the Packers. And at least in my lifetime, that's how it's been. They've owned you guys and they've always owned you guys. And now you were down 18 points at halftime and you got them. Like you were like they were sleeping and you caught them off guard and you beat them. And now the Packers are out of the playoffs and you get to play a seemingly, at least from what we've seen in the past couple weeks, a struggling Rams team. Beatable. Now you're in the NFC Conference Championship. You're probably playing the Seahawks, but you could be playing the Niners. I mean, the Bears defense is really solid. First half, they allowed 21 points, but they also turned the ball over on fourth down twice and gave the Packers great field position. Bears defense is really good, and the Seahawks offense is really good, and so is the 49ers. But if they can't score, Caleb Williams can.
So I would say that this Bears defense is good in spurts. They're good when they're good, they're good. But when they're bad, they are atrocious. And
It's
they
true.
showed that in the first half. And
Yeah.
just giving up 21 points in the first half. Jordan Love just dominated them. And I don't know what Ben Johnson said at during halftime, but they came out with their hair on fire and just ready to play. And Caleb Williams he showed he's the guy, which the Bears have been looking for a guy since forever. I mean, you could argue Jay Cutler was kind of the guy.
No.
He was more fun than he was the guy.
Yeah.
But
I love
like
Jay Cutler. I loved watching him, but Jay Cutler was not the guy. Like this guy on 4th and 8 made a throw off his back foot. It was like a 30-yard pass. Like he's the guy.
that was an absolutely beautiful ball. And he made a few of those off-platform throws where you're like, man, that there's just not very many people in the world that can do that.
Yeah. I mean, Caleb Williams isn't the MVP this year, but he could do it. I mean, if especially if you gave him like another offensive weapon. I mean, I know they've got a pretty good Odunze was out that game, obviously, so you're missing one piece there. But this Bears team is solid and they've got a good shot at making a run here in the playoffs. And they proved that they were a good team against Green Bay.
Yeah, and for me, I think it'll be really important for this Bears defensive line to get after this very, very injured Rams offensive line.
Yeah.
Um, they just need to if they can't get pressure on Matthew Stafford, who is also kind of hurt. I believe he broke his or maybe broke, sprained, hyperextended his index finger on
Hmm.
his throwing hand. So he might not be as accurate as he normally would. If you can get after him and make him uncomfortable, that the Bears have a really, really good shot at this, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
As long as they don't show up in the first half like they did this week. I don't know if they'll survive that part.
No, especially since I think the Rams offense is stronger than the Packers offense. So like that Rams team could maybe even be up, 28-3, even like I might even say 35-3. And that's not comebackable in my opinion. No one's ever come back
28 to
from
3
28
is.
to 3.
Well, did you? I believe there were two players on the Bears that were both involved in the 28-3 game, one on the Patriots side, one on the Falcons side.
Grady
Um,
Jarrett was one of them. He's on the Bears. I don't know
yes.
who the second one was.
Was it Matthew Judon?
Maybe, maybe.
I can't remember. Anyways, but I mean, they saw the 28-3 comeback. They knew that, we can do this. It's been done. I've seen the blueprint. I know exactly what we got to do.
Yeah.
And, they just went out there and executed. But now we can move on to Sunday, where we started off the day with another really, really good game. We had three straight amazing games in Bills Jaguars, which also came down to the end, where Josh Allen again leads the Bills on a game-winning drive with less than 2 minutes, with 4 minutes left, I think, and just kind of takes the wind out of the sails of what was a very, very successful Jaguar season.
Yeah, this game, I don't really have too much to say about it. Like you say, you're right. It was a really good game, but both of us, I believe, last week talked about this game. We both picked Buffalo because Buffalo has the experience there and Buffalo has Josh Allen. Not that Trevor Lawrence isn't good. It's just, I mean, Buffalo's got a, this is Buffalo's year. Like, if Josh Allen wants to go get that ring that has just been ever so elusive, doesn't have to deal with his biggest kryptonite. His biggest kryptonite's not in the playoffs this year. Like, I just know I feel like he knows that, and he played out of his mind on Sunday.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're Trevor Lawrence, you threw two picks. You had one. The first one was a bad one. But the second one, it's the fourth quarter. You're trying to make a play. You're trying to fit a ball in a tight window. You can't really fault him for that. Other than that, I thought he played very, very well.
He did.
He was able to put up some points and get after this Bills defense. And I think it bodes well for the future of the Jags. You got the coach, you got the quarterback, and there's definitely a lot to build on here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Jaguars should be proud of this season. No one expected them to be the 3 seed in the AFC at the end of this year, and they had a great year. And yeah, Liam Cohen might just be the guy for Jacksonville for a long time.
I would think so, but we will move on to probably the most interesting game of the day, and that, or maybe not interesting, the biggest upset of the day, which was San Francisco triumphing over the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, and earning the right to go play the Seahawks in the next round.
I'm just gonna be. I know I sound like I'm just BSing, but I didn't understand the line. I made a three-legger parlay yesterday, and it was 49ers money line, Bills money line, Patriots money line. It hit. And I didn't understand why the line for the Niners was 6.5 in favor of the Eagles. I just didn't think the Eagles were that good. I know they're the 3 seed, but I just don't think that their offense is very good. And it kind of showed in this game. As soon as Jalen Hurts had to throw the ball actually downfield, I mean, they can't do anything. He was 0 for 6 on passes over 15 yards. Like, he can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw all year that this was an extremely flawed Eagles team that was not as strong as last year's Super Bowl team, not as confident, not as dominant in a lot of their wins. And we saw it this year where they squeaked out a lot of wins. And when you get to the playoffs, sometimes that'll come back to bite you where you got to play well. You can't just survive by not playing well and you make it through. You got to play well in the playoffs. So, um I think this was easily forecasted if you're someone who's been watching this Eagles team all year. Um but credit to the 49ers. I mean, when they make the playoffs, they win. I believe it's like it's some crazy number of amount of games straight that they've won in the wild card. Christian McCaffrey plays out of his mind. Brock Purdy does what he needs to do. The only thing that you are upset about if you're a San Francisco 49ers fan is what I think will probably end up being the end of George Kittle's career in that torn Achilles, which is gonna is not only gonna hurt you in the next round against the Seahawks, but it's also gonna hurt your future as a franchise.
Yeah, he's the veteran presence on that offense, right? I mean, McCaffrey's obviously an older guy now. I mean, it's crazy that he's starting to get up there in age. It felt like he just joined the league a couple years ago, but he's starting to get up there in age. So he's got that veteran presence. But Kittle was like he's been with the Niners for so long. He is the veteran, the kind of the heart and soul of the locker room, I would imagine. And that was a really rough injury. It's absolutely going to have implications on this Seahawks game coming up. Um, yeah, it's a sad injury for sure. And this will be the rubber match between these two teams. They're both 1-1 this year against each other. So we'll see. I expect the Seahawks to win, but you know, if the Niners play solid offensively, they've got a good shot at it.
So if you are George Kittle, wh- what is going through your head right now? Because you're 32 years old, you're pretty injury prone, if we're being honest.
Hmm.
You've had some injuries pile up over the last few years. Now you tear your Achilles, which is a real big one, and should probably be a 9 to 12 month recovery. By the time you're back, you're 34, you're slowing down, you don't know how the team's gonna look, you don't know if Christian McCaffrey's still gonna be there, you don't know if Brock Purdy's still gonna be there. Do you even take the chance of like hitting this rehab really hard in hopes to get back next season? Or what do you think?
I mean, it kind of depends on how much you really think you still love the game. I mean, if this guy's still in love with the game and what he wakes up for every day is to come and play football, maybe he will go through that process and go through it and try to find himself, playing football here and for the next couple years. But fact of the matter is, even best case, he's probably only got 3, 4 years left. Maybe I mean maybe five if he's really feeling it. But like you say, he's getting hurt all the time. I mean, he was hurt like half of this year, and he was hurt a lot of last year. He's just finding himself getting as he gets older. He can't do the things he used to do. Is he still a great tight end? Yeah, I mean he's good, but I mean that's just because of his natural ability. He has to be healthy for him to be good, and it's just whether or not he wants to continue putting his body on the line or if he's ready to hang up the cleats and call it a career.
Yeah, there's a lot of tough decisions ahead for George Kittle and this 49ers team. But that was all the games this weekend. Let's go through and talk about what we got coming up this next weekend. Let's do the first matchup, and that is the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. How do you see this game playing out?
I expect this to be, I mean, I expected it a couple weeks ago too, and it didn't happen, but I expect this to be a high scoring game. I expect it to be a shootout. I expect both of these offenses to be firing on all cylinders, especially in the playoffs with just so much grit and tenacity on the line here, especially against a divisional rival. I expect it to be high scoring, and I expect the Niners to keep it close, but I do expect the Seahawks to pull away with a win here and find themselves in the conference championship.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one, only because I believe in Kyle Shanahan. Not necessarily that I believe in Brock Purdy or that I
Trust me, I
believe
love
in
Kyle.
Christian McCaffrey or Kyle Juszczyk. Like it doesn't matter who's on the field. Kyle Shanahan is going to call a good game. His team is going to be prepared, and they're going to put themselves in the position to win. And I think that's what you need to do in the playoffs. And Kyle Shanahan shown that he can do that, and just triumph over this fairly inexperienced Seahawks team led by Sam Darnold, who I still don't really trust, but he has the opportunity to prove me wrong. But yeah, I like the Niners in this one.
I mean, I don't hate the take at all. I have always and always will be a Kyle Shanahan backer. I believe he's a really good coach. I believe he's really smart, and he's just offensive minded, at least, I think he's the best coach in football. And that might be crazy to say, crazy for some people to hear, but I think offensively, he is the best coach in football. But I, the Seahawks team is just really strong and they have a lot of talent on the team. I just think the talent alone is enough to get them past the 49ers. The line has opened at -7 in favor of the Seahawks. I expect the Niners to cover that, but I do think the Seahawks will win.
All right, and we next in the NFC we have the Bears versus the LA Rams. What do you think of this one?
I want the Bears, and I do think they can do it. Um, I want the Bears, but I think it's going to be the Rams. I think the Rams are going to win this game. I want the Bears to do it badly. But I just think the Rams have more playoff experience and they're just a little bit stronger offensively. And I just think they have a good shot at winning this game. However, if the Bears can play solid defense and hold the Rams offensively, even just enough to like hold them to like 24 points, then I think the Bears will win. I just don't know if that's going to happen. I could see this game going either way. I'm kind of like 51% Rams, 49% Bears.
So at game time, it is going to be between probably 17 and 15 degrees in Chicago.
Right.
And this is an LA Rams team that plays indoors in LA, obviously. Um, and this Bears team just went through a whole week of preparing to play in the cold against a Packers team that's used to playing in the cold. And now we're going to play an LA Rams team who's not used to playing in the cold, who's a little banged up, who hasn't been playing the greatest football. I think all signs to me point to the Bears and point to them really breaking through and making it to the NFC Championship. Whether they win the NFC Championship, I'm not really sure. But I think the way that this kind of shook out for the Bears is a really, really favorable matchup after they kind of got the monkey off their back of the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you're right. But your NFC Championship game is Bears versus Niners, which is a pretty crazy game. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun game, and I hope that that's right. I think it could be Bears Seahawks or Rams Seahawks. I still really do think that the Seahawks are going to beat the 49ers, but this Bears Rams game could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this one. That'll pro to me that's one of the if it's not the best game of the week, it's the second best. Now moving over to what could probably be the best game of the week in Broncos and Bills, you have Josh Allen coming off an emotional win, his first getting Buffalo's first road playoff win in 33 years, his first of his career. He's going a mile high. Bo Nix is waiting. Broncos.
You're taking the Broncos?
Broncos.
You know, it's funny because the Broncos this opened yesterday, and they opened at 1.5 point favorites, and the Bills are already 1.5 point favorites, which means the sharp money, the people who bet a lot of money, are betting on Buffalo, which is interesting. But the 1.5 point spread means that this game is going to be really close, and this game is going to be really good. And these guys get paid to make these lines. And as much as I think I know more than them with the bets I make every week, I typically don't. And they know more than
Your
I do.
bank account is showing that you don't.
I don't. And they know more than I do. And the line is always pretty good. So this is going to be a really close game, and it's going to come down to who scores last, right? And I feel like it's crazy that we just keep disagreeing, but I'm taking the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills are going to beat the Broncos. I think they're, like I say, this is Josh Allen's year. If he's going to do it, it's got to be now. It's got to be this year. He's got to go into Denver ready. And Denver's likely going to be pretty chilly as well, but this guy plays in Buffalo. He's used to playing in cold weather. This guy knows how to do it. And I don't know. We'll see. Buffalo got their first road win in like 33 years this last week,
Mhm.
and I think the Bills are gonna go back to back here.
Yeah, I just think this a lot of people are saying that because Patrick Mahomes isn't in the playoffs, this is the year that Josh Allen has to do it, and this is the only year that he can do it. But to me, this is not the best situation that he's been in with a team in his career, right? I
Sure.
think that this is still a very flawed Bills team that is gonna can win this game for sure. But I just this Broncos team has been so dominant. Bo Nix has been so good. He's been doing what he needs to do, and I really really like this Broncos team. But we will move on. I think I just realized that we didn't talk about Pat's Chargers.
It
Really
was a
not much to
stinker
talk
game.
about.
Didn't matter. It was a
Yeah,
stinker.
it was definitely the worst one of the weekend. Drake May did Drake May things.
Well, and the
In one
Pats defense is just the Pats defense is too good. The Pats defense was too good for the Chargers offensive line. Herbert spent the entire night on the ground. I'm sure the Chargers will go to the draft next year, get a couple offensive linemen, give him some protection. Chargers team is close to being good. They're just not yet.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think, you know, I think we're probably going to agree on this next one. It really doesn't matter whether they play the Texans or the Steelers. I think that this Patriots team will be playing in the AFC Championship game, because of that defense,
Mike
they
Vrabel.
because of Mike Vrabel. Exactly. It's just all stars are pointing towards the Patriots going back to the Super Bowl and just restarting this whole reign.
I mean, it could absolutely happen. And just to at least create some kind of talking point, because obviously we were both going to agree on that. Which matchup is in any way, because I think they're both a win for the Patriots, which one is more favorable, right? And I think personally that would probably be Houston. But either way, they'll probably win. I just think Houston is a bit more favorable just because their run game is abysmal and terrible. And that's the only reason why I think that.
See, I think probably the better matchup is the Steelers, only because this Texans team, that defense is nasty.
It's true.
And they're going to be playing in the cold. They're going to be playing in New England. It's going to be a slugfest, right? So it's really about whose defense do you trust more. I would still trust the Patriots defense more, but I think that Houston would give them a much tougher game, even with probably a less explosive offense than the Steelers have.
Right. Well, I mean, either way, I agree that it probably doesn't matter. The Ram or not the Rams, the Patriots are better than both of these teams, so I think they'll win. They played great last night, and they'll probably do the same thing next Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I just the fact that we're back here is so funny. It's just the right organizations do the right thing. And when you get the quarterback and when you get the coach, really the rest falls into place. And we've seen that happen all around the league. And the Patriots just seem to have done it again.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they get to do it so frequently, and I just have to wait so freaking long. But some people are some people are God's favorites, and you guys are lucky.
So we will move on to a little bit of a Falcons minute, and I will let you talk about the appointment of Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I was super excited about this hire, guys. I was really excited. I have always loved Matt Ryan, and he knows football. And this is he's our first president of football. We literally just made up this position. We're like, here's what you're going to do. So we just made it up just so Matt Ryan can be in the locker room. And I like this. I like this hire. He's going to have a big say in who we hire as our head coach, right? And there's two or three guys right now who I really want the Falcons to hire, right? Number one is obviously I want John Harbaugh. Problem is everybody wants John Harbaugh. So
Correct.
that's the problem.
Arthur Blank, get out your checkbook.
Yeah, get out your checkbook and unfortunately you're going to have to give up some power. This guy wants power. He wants to control
Right.
the locker room, he wants to control the team. as a Falcons fan, I know Arthur Blank is not listening to the podcast, but I just hope he knows that we literally everyone in Atlanta wants this. Please just give him the power, give him the money. Like that's who we want. We want John Harbaugh. He will bring success. Where he goes, success follows. That's just how it is.
This should be the interview for Falcons and John Harbaugh. Here is a blank check. Figure out what you want and how we can do this. However much money you want, I'll pay it
Because
because
he
that
can.
he's got boatloads of money.
Right.
We live in Atlanta. We see his name literally everywhere. He's
Right.
got so much money. So just pay the money, do what an owner should do, and invest in your team. But over to Matt Ryan. I think this is by creating this kind of position as president of football. I see this as a move by the Falcons, kind of grooming him to be the next GM.
Hmm.
Um, because he wouldn't be ready to kind of step into that role quite yet, just
Absolutely.
because he hasn't been in that situation. But I believe that that's probably what they're trying to do is, hey, we know that maybe you're not ready yet, and we want you to be involved in the hiring of our next coach and the next GM. We want you to be involved. And yeah, for once, I think this is a smart move by the Falcons.
Yeah, I agree. And I it's a good point, and it's kind of what I was thinking a little bit too is we kind of want this guy to be in the organization, right? This guy loves the city. He's always loved the city. Why? I don't know. The city has been so mean to him. I don't know why he likes Atlanta, but he has still given us grace. And, I thank him a lot for that. But he's back in here, right? And I assume that similarly, they're probably getting him ready for a bigger role. And this is just hey, here's what you're going to do for now. We want you at the games. We want you in the locker room. We want you in the front office. We want you doing all this stuff just so you understand how it works. And that's what I think I agree with you will happen. He'll keep moving up until he is probably the GM of the Falcons or even head coach.
Um, One name that has been rumored to maybe be on the move is Matt LaFleur of the
I've heard that.
Packers. Um, how would you feel if they didn't get Harbaugh but they did get LaFleur?
It's kind of interesting because I do like LaFleur. He's a good offensive mind. He's a smart coach. But do I really want to bring on the guy who just blew a 21-3 lead after I've had to deal with so many blown leads in my lifetime? Like, do I really want to bring that guy on?
Honestly, I didn't even think about that. That's so funny.
I mean, he's a great coach. And honestly, so pretty much any coach that's on the market right now is better than what Raheem Morris had to offer the Falcons. Not any coach, but most coaches on the market can offer more than Raheem can. And if we brought in LaFleur, I'm sure he would succeed enough with this team. We'd probably get to the playoffs, but can we make a Super Bowl run with him? I'm just not sure. I mean, I really want Harbaugh. I've been looking every day for updates on Harbaugh just to see. We interviewed him earlier today, actually, and we're the first team to interview him. And I don't know exactly how it went, but I'm hoping Matt Ryan was there, and Matt Ryan just told him, "Dude, we'll do anything to have you here." Because I do think this guy, he's good for the city, and Matt Ryan's just trying to get a winner back in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean that is what we need here in Atlanta. Needs some stability. And I
Yeah.
think John Harbaugh can provide that for you. Um, let's move on to everybody's favorite segment. Shit mid legit. What do you got for me today, Ed?
I actually have an upgraded version.
Oh,
We have shittest shid
oh, okay.
mid legit, right?
So you definitely had something in your head where it was like you couldn't pick between three and four, and you had to add shittest. I like
Yes, that's correct. Well, I'm doing four because I'm doing the four teams that are left in the NFC.
Okay, all right. So we have that would be the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers, the LA Rams, and the Chicago Bears.
Right.
Okay, so let's start with legit. And I think it's pretty easy to do legit. The number one seed, the best defense. the Seattle Seahawks. Even though I picked them to lose, I think they're I just
No,
realized that.
no,
As it was coming out of my mouth, I realized what I was doing.
it's a fair
But
argument though. Just because you think the Seahawks are better than the 49ers doesn't mean that the Seahawks will beat the 49ers. Like it depends. It depends on the day.
so I'm gonna put the Seattle Seahawks at legit. Um, I am gonna put the 49ers at nope, just kidding. I'm gonna put the Bears as mid. Um, and then the 49ers as shid and the LA Rams as shittest.
Yeah, this is I probably have the same list. If anything, I might move this is this is a really tough one because no one this is another one of those lists where no one's shit. None of these four teams are shit, right? And certainly none of them are shittest. Like they're not that bad. I agree. The Seahawks are one. That would be number one. They're the number one seed. They are the strongest team in football, in my personal opinion. Two gets tough because it could literally be any of these teams. The Bears just had a monumental comeback. They've got a solid defense if they want to have it. Caleb Williams is playing great right now. Rams, if they play well, like if they play like they do against any team that's not in the NFC South, they can be number two. If the Niners can play offensively under Shanahan's scheme correctly, they can be the mid team here. Um, I'm going to actually put the Bears as mid as well, even though I have the Rams beating them. And then I'm going to have the Rams as shid and the Niners as shidist.
All right. Well, there you have it. We are set up for another wonderful week of football. We have Monday Night Football tonight, Texans Steelers, who we're trying to figure out who is earning the right to play the Patriots. Um, but we have another exciting weekend. National Championship, Indiana, Oregon, not Indiana, Oregon, Indiana, Miami. Um, I am excited to come back and talk to you next week.
Yeah, should be good. I'm excited for all these conference or not conference championships, divisional games. Really struggling on the wording, both of us today, but really excited for all these playoff games. Things are really fun in football. Yeah, rise up.
All right. Well, this has been so back. We will be so back next week. And all right. Peace.